Hey there, thanks for clicking on the... Hey there, thanks for clicking on
the... Words are hard.
I can't pronounce it. Hey there, thanks for clicking on the video. I'm Luke.
I'm Chris.
And we are the Creative Criticals. Roll the intro. Those Who Wish Me Dead is an action thriller starring Angelina Jolie as a firefighter recovering from a past trauma. The film also stars Jon Bernthal in a role that we have never seen him in, a cop. The film was written and directed by Taylor Sheridan, a screenwriter that rose to prominence with award-worthy films such as Wind River, Sicario, and Hell or High Water.
Still dealing with the loss of 3 lives, Hannah, Angelina Jolie's character, is a smoke jumper who's Still dealing with the loss of 3 lives, Hannah, Angelina Jolie's character, is a smoke jumper who's perched high in a watchtower above the Montana wilderness. She soon encounters Connor, a skittish boy who's dealing with trauma and on the run in the remote forest. As Hannah tries to bring him to safety, she's unaware of the true danger to follow and the 2 relentless killers hunting Connor and a fiery blaze consuming everything in its path.
So I went into this movie with little to no expectations. Me and my wife were just wanting to go out on a date, go see a movie in the theater, and this was a movie that was out, and I think I remember commenting to her that I'd never actually seen an Angelina Jolie movie before, so I was like, hey, let's go check it out. And
really?
Yeah, serious. So we went with no expectations. Actually, if anything, I thought it was going to be a throwaway kind of movie. So it wildly outperformed my expectations. Wasn't a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, so we've got a lot of positives and significant amount of problems with it. So that's kind of my impression of the movie.
You've never seen an Angel? Not that there's any that stick out as masterpieces, but you've never seen Tomb Raider?
No, I know about Tomb Raider. I've never watched it though.
You're not missing much. Right. So you got to watch this with your wife. I watched this movie alone at work. We both work for campus police at our school, and it's in a guard shack. We work the overnight shift, so if we look tired, if we always look tired, that's why. But I was in a guard shack watching it on a pretty sizable computer monitor alone. In the future, we're gonna do a video on the experience of watching a movie in a theater versus watching it at home or watching it alone, and how it's different, and some of the ways you see it from that perspective. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, the cool thing about our job is that we have kind of the ability to do nothing because we work midnight, the graveyard shift. We work midnight to 6 a.m. So a lot of times we'll get in there and talk about movies or watch movies on our computer screen. So
protecting the people.
Yeah, we keep our campus safe by watching movies.
That's right.
The thing I liked about it was the pace of the action. So from the beginning, you have a threat that is established at the beginning, and it's intimidating, and you genuinely are interested and invested in the story because I thought the pacing was really good. It really doesn't waste time. The whole movie is centered and revolves around a singular event, and so that event is the movie. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that they didn't waste a lot of time getting into the action, and then they kept you there in the story.
Yeah.
So that was one of my the pace of the action probably was one of the things that I really loved about it.
Yeah, I would say that when you say it doesn't waste time, that's quite literal.
Right.
It really gets you into, you feel the cost, and what's happening. And with Angelina Jolie, Hannah is her character's name, she does a great job at portraying grief.
Yeah.
Of what she goes through and the trauma. I think that some movies can sometimes brush over what someone would really deal with, but I think they did a good job at not only the internal but the external reaction to that trauma, where she's just kind of careless. She doesn't really take care of herself very well, and she's just kind of living. She's not really living with purpose, just kind of going forward because she has to.
You also have the character arc of Connor, the boy. You see that throughout the film, and kind of how his story is, he is too trusting, and then that trust is broken pretty violently as he sees his dad die.
Wait till you see this next one. Everybody dies.
Dude.
Not everybody. No. Is that?
No. Hey, whatever.
Can we rewind that part?
Yeah. Can we? You'll cut that.
That's
part
not.
out.
Is there anybody?
Even though I felt like the movie did rely on some tropes, some common things that we've seen before, I thought that it did those things well. So it's like we've seen it before, but it was done well.
That was going to be a nitpick for me with some of the cliches. For example, Nicholas Holt's character Patrick, one of the bad guys, where he knocks a character down and then they're clearly still alive, and he turns around, and gives them time to come up behind. Well, that's just some movies you just have to do that to move the forward. But you're right, they did it well. We're
going to definitely dive into some spoilers because we're going to get into some of our problems with the film. So, what are some of the things that stood out to you that you didn't necessarily like?
Yeah, so one of the biggest, I guess, nitpicks or critiques was the ending. It just kind of fell flat for me. Everything was very abrupt. So John Bernthal's character, Ethan, at one point he takes some bullets and, he's dying, and they're up in the watchtower with his wife, and then things happen, and then he's dead. I think his death was pretty unceremonial. You can't spend a lot of time with it because, again, the story's about Angelina and the kid. But, Angelina's character, Hannah, never really deals with his death or is even, told that he's dead. So there's no resolve in that, or her dealing with it that she knows. So there's just a few loose ends, with the father's secrets and stuff that he wrote down. It doesn't get mentioned again, and you never really see exactly what secrets he was talking about. And I don't have to know in detail.
Right.
I think it would have added a little more to the tension and the story. Because when Angelina Jolie's character reads it, she's like, okay, we need to go now.
It would have upped the stakes if we knew why they're being hunted. So I understand that wasn't the point. The story wasn't about the dad and the secrets. The story was about these two characters, and I get that. But had we known why they were being hunted, I think it would have elevated the stakes quite a bit, and then we would understand it a little better. So I think that's actually a good catch there.
Yeah, because also we're assuming, the righteousness of the dad.
Right.
It's kind of assumed, where he said, I did the right thing. Yeah. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit behind the curtain there so that we can root even more for the cause.
Yeah.
Because he's...
That's true. I wrote this down. I did some research. Did you know that you have a 1 in 15,300 chance of being struck by lightning in your lifetime? In an estimated 80-year period, there's 1 in 15,000 chance that you'll be struck once. She gets struck by lightning twice on the same night.
Thank God they got it on film. She gone.
Right.
Speaking of movie logic, some of the deduction of the bad guys when they're trying to figure out where the kid and dad goes, they look at a wall of photos and they're like, it's probably the one with John Bernthal in it.
Right.
They just assume, and I guess there's some thought that can go into that where they're obviously trained and smart. But it was just really quickly they figured out where they were headed because of them being present with Ethan. So if you had to give this movie, Those Who Wish Me Dead, an overall score, where do you think you're at?
Probably, I'm in between. I'd give it a 6.5.
Okay.
Because I thought it was good. There were things about it I really enjoyed. It hit the emotional beats pretty well, and I walked out of the movie feeling really satisfied. So I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't without significant problems. So 6.5 would probably be my score.
Okay. Originally, I thought 5 because I was just split in between the things I didn't like, and again, I really am excited about when we do that video of the experiences of a theater, and because you use a different brain, and there were a lot of I was very critical of it, but some of the things you mentioned I didn't notice that I think made it strong, so I can bump it up to a 6.
If you like what you see in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've got a lot of content coming out in the near future. We've got movie reviews, music reviews, the occasional reaction video, and then we've got a lot of content planned that's kind of unique and original to us. So if you like what we're doing here, subscribe, and we'll have more content coming out in the very near future. We'll see you there.